The investigation does not mean justice, and I do not trust Israeli media, their courts, or their army, and it means nothing to me. I do not accept their decisions or their investigation. I want a transparent international investigation in front of the whole world, for the paramedics, for my daughter, for every child martyred in Gaza, and for my family because Hind is the voice of every child in Gaza. When you live every day with your heart torn apart by her loss, you wish she were in front of you, growing up, achieving her dreams and yours. I lost her in the most horrific situation, and all I remember is her voice pleading, "Mama, I'm scared. Mama, I'm hungry. Mama, I'm hurt." It describes the most terrible and worst circumstance that could happen in the world. I can't sleep day or night because her voice keeps repeating in my ears.
Of course, the Red Crescent had demanded, and is still demanding, an investigation to achieve justice and reveal the truth. It is also the right of Hind Rajab's parents, and the parents of our emergency workers, including our volunteer teams, to know what really happened to them. However, this should be done within the framework of an impartial investigation committee, an impartial international committee. I learned something about humanity. It's not necessary for humanity to be material, tangible, or food-related. In my conversation with Hind Rajab, I realized that humanity can also be about presence. I couldn't physically reach Hind, embrace her, or help her feel safe. All I had was my voice. My voice was with her, and it might have comforted her. During the call, I was crying, and for the first time in my life, I cried for hours. But I tried my best to cry, then catch my breath, and talk to her because I didn't want to make her more afraid. The hardest part was after 12 days. It was when we confirmed that the Israeli occupation forces had left the area, and her, Hind Rajab, uncle informed us that they left the area and they were all martyred. Whether it was me or my colleagues, each of us had a hope that there was a possibility they, Hind and the paramedics, were arrested, a possibility they went to another area or were injured, or that they were. But not that they were executed and targeted in this way.
For the first time, Israel has admitted to the killing of 5-year-old Palestinian Hind Rajab, reopening one of the Gaza war's most scrutinized cases. Israeli forces admitted to opening fire at a vehicle in 2024 that was carrying Hind Rajab and her family in Gaza, marking a major reversal. The IDF has opened a criminal probe into Hind Rajab's killing after previously denying that its forces played any role in the incident. The IDF had previously maintained that its forces were neither near the vehicle nor within firing range when the deadly shooting occurred. The military now says its review found that troops fired at a vehicle approaching them, dramatically changing its earlier account of events. The IDF said, and I quote, "On the 29th of January, 2024, media reports were published regarding IDF fire that allegedly hit a vehicle carrying members of the Hamada family in Gaza City. The review found that IDF forces fired at a vehicle that approached them while traveling against the evacuation direction announced in advance by the IDF spokesperson. According to the published reports, this was the Hamada family's vehicle, which came under fire during the incident. As a result of the fire, 5 passengers were killed, while 2 survived, Hind Rajab and her cousin Layan. In the hours following the shooting, following a telephone call to rescue personnel in which both girls initially participated and later Hind alone, an evacuation effort was coordinated. A Red Crescent ambulance journey was then coordinated to evacuate the casualties, but when the ambulance reached the scene, it was hit by a shell. The strike killed the 2 paramedics aboard the ambulance, adding another devastating chapter to the incident." End quote. The 5-year-old was killed after her family's car came under fire in Gaza during the war, leaving Hind trapped inside the damaged vehicle. Rajab survived the initial attack and pleaded for hours for paramedics to rescue her, as her desperate calls drew international attention. The ambulance sent to save Hind Rajab also came under fire, killing the paramedics who had reportedly gone to evacuate her. 12 days later, Rajab's body was found inside the car, which was reportedly riddled with bullets after the deadly attack. Now, Israeli forces say the firing raised a reasonable suspicion of criminal misconduct, prompting the case to move into a formal investigation. The IDF said, and I quote, "Several days later, the bodies of all 7 Hamada family members, including Hind and Layan, were recovered from the vehicle. The bodies of the 2 paramedics were also recovered from the ambulance, bringing the full human toll of the incident into focus. After examining the findings, and in light of apparent shortcomings regarding coordination of the Red Crescent ambulance's movement, further scrutiny was ordered. It was decided to continue examining the incident through an investigation by the Military Police Criminal Investigation Division. In light of this decision, no further details can be provided regarding issues arising from the mechanism's review. End quote. The Israeli military has also opened a criminal probe into the 2025 killing of 15 paramedics, adding to mounting scrutiny over wartime conduct. The IDF said its fact-finding mechanism has examined around 150 incidents from the Gaza war as part of its broader reviews. Trouble mounts as Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu battles a reported rift with US President Trump, even as scrutiny over Gaza continues. As Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu seeks another term in office, a new report by Axios has revealed the latest apparent strain in his relationship with US President Donald Trump. According to the report, Trump has described Benjamin Netanyahu as his own worst enemy, highlighting the growing tension between the two leaders despite their previously close political ties. The reported remark comes at a crucial moment, as Netanyahu is seeking Trump's political backing ahead of Israel's October 27 election, hoping that an endorsement from a US president could strengthen his campaign. However, Trump has so far stopped short of publicly endorsing Netanyahu, even though the two leaders have repeatedly described themselves as friends and have maintained a close relationship on major political and security issues. Axios reported that Trump's hesitation to back Netanyahu is partly connected to the Israeli Prime Minister's weak standing in the polls, raising questions about whether an endorsement would actually benefit either leader politically. The report further stated that Netanyahu's Likud party is currently running neck and neck with, or even behind, Gadi Eisenkot's Yashar party in some polling, adding to the uncertainty surrounding the upcoming election. Meanwhile, opinion polls reportedly show Netanyahu's coalition bloc falling short of the 61 seats required to secure a majority in Israel's Knesset, potentially making it difficult for him to form a government after the election. In a sign of Trump's apparent interest in Netanyahu's electoral prospects, the US president reportedly asked the Israeli prime minister just 2 weeks ago how he was performing in the polls ahead of the October 27 vote. Netanyahu reportedly paused before one of his advisors told Trump that the Israeli leader was winning the race. However, polling now presents a far more difficult electoral picture for Netanyahu, with his coalition trailing its current Knesset strength and struggling to reach a governing majority. This comes as tensions are again rising between Hamas and Israeli troops in Gaza, threatening to further strain the fragile situation.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new etched app. Download now.